in the way towards them, towards the left, and what they've actually done is invigorated the movement that Charlie started.
No question.
It will continue in multiples, in droves. And we played a soundbite yesterday of Charlie saying, take one of us down, 10 will come at you even stronger. And that was prescient. That was from June of 2024. June of 2024, almost like he saw this coming. All right, Steve, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. We'll take it from here, my friend. All right, folks, Friday, 4 p.m., markets are closed. Just take a quick look. This is not something we want to do, but something we should do. We will get to Charlie Kirk in just a moment, I promise you. Dow down 273, Nasdaq the other way, up a little bit, up about 100 points or so. Gold up a good amount, $3,684 now. Gold sitting, oil up a bit, and very good news in the crypto markets. If there's anything we can say, good news is about Bitcoin, 116,000, almost 117,000 now. Ethereum, 4,600, pushing back towards that 5,000 high. XRP and others. CRO, you guys asked about CRO. Said we're going to talk about it. Flat to down a little bit. All right. Let's take a listen. Do we have a soundbite, right? Mad Dog or Ben, do we have a soundbite of President Trump? Yeah, let's roll a soundbite of Trump from this morning on Fox and Friends.
I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody, right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job. Father went to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, by the way. And the person was involved with law enforcement, but was a person of faith, a minister. And brought him to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic. And the father convinced the son, this is it. And again, I'm always subject to be corrected, but I'm just giving you based on what I'm hearing.
Yeah, like I said, that was President Trump this morning at Fox and Friends saying that they believe they have Charlie Kirk's murder. Joining me to discuss the latest on Charlie Kirk's assassination is the acting chief executive officer at the United States Agency for Global Media, Kari Lake, who has posted on X that not even his death can stop the seeds that Charlie planted from growing. Kari Lake, thank you for joining us. My dear Kari, these circumstances are rough, a lot of broken hearts, certainly around here. Arizona, Charlie lived in Arizona, you're in Arizona, and you give your reaction, and we'll dig a little bit deeper into, what are we, 48 hours or so after the assassination, but just give us your first reaction.
We're so proud to say that Charlie is in Arizona. And even though he was born in Chicago, Arizona has a lot of transplants. And I believe that Charlie Kirk is Arizona's favorite son. And we're proud of him. And we're proud of what he accomplished, what he built in Arizona. And it may have been, started in a small garage in Chicago. He moved it to Arizona. But this is worldwide. This is worldwide. Charlie Kirk not only is a political icon for what he accomplished in especially waking up a young generation and frankly their parents and grandparents, but more importantly, what he did as an evangelical. He never planned to become an evangelical, but his faith was so strong. He and Erica's faith was so strong that he started to work to spread the good news of the gospel. And as he did that, more and more people were showing up, and he brought so many people either back to their faith or for the first time had them opening a Bible and professing their love for Jesus. And I was talking to a friend of mine who was involved in the transition team for this administration. And Charlie was very active in the transition team as well. And as they were working really hard trying to build President Trump's administration, Charlie was in the room with him, and he said, I wrote it down. He said to my friend, "Hey, Colton, do you know that Jesus is your Lord and Savior?" And Colton said, "Well, yeah, of course I do, Charlie." But he was always looking to make sure that souls were being saved, because what really matters is that moment, as he said, when you have that final judgment. And I believe that moment when Charlie met God, met Jesus, that it went well for him. Mm-hmm. And so Charlie's legacy is massive. It's massive when it comes to this political movement turning point. It's only going to grow bigger and stronger. What he's left when it comes to bringing people back to faith is so something we could never measure. And then his two children are his legacy. His little daughter, Gigi, and his son, who's just turned 1. Beautiful pictures of Charlie with his kids, and his wife, his amazing wife, who we all love, Erica. that is the legacy that he will leave. And I know that even though they're so young and they may not have a lot of memories of their dad, there will be so many people around them constantly reminding them how incredible and important their father was and how much he loved them.
All right, let's turn to, we have a soundbite with Kash Patel and the governor of Utah. I believe it's the governor. Can you roll that soundbite, please?
At approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period.
And so the way it went is Trump this morning on Fox and Friends announced that they had a suspect in custody. No one had heard that before. There was supposed to be a press conference at 9 o'clock. That was delayed because Trump stayed on with Fox and Friends. Past that, they waited. And then they announced that the suspect is, I'm not even going to say his name, is a 22-year-old male. There he is right there. That's the guy. And now it is the task of finding the motive, Kari. And this is the real, and for me, I was here, we did this live. We delivered the horrible news live right here on this show about 4:15 or so on Wednesday. For that man to get away that fast, it just felt like there were more than just one deranged lunatic with a rifle. It felt like there was more people involved. What are your sense? What are your thoughts? What are you hearing?
If there were more than one person involved in this, whoever took out the life and took Charlie from us seemed to be a trained sniper, somebody who is very good with a weapon, who knows how to operate one. And so I don't know any particulars other than what we are hearing from Kash and the investigation, and I wouldn't even want to speculate right now. But I do know that the constant name calling that has been happening, calling Charlie and his followers and frankly MAGA folks who love our country Nazis and Hitler and racist and xenophobic and you name it, that affects people, especially young minds. It starts to seep into young minds and they start to build hatred. And Charlie didn't have a hateful bone in his body. He wanted to debate. I mean, I can't think of anything less violent than talking and debating. And, so I think the tone coming from the other side has been so vicious that it's affected so many young minds. And I don't know what was going on in this young person's mind, but it must have been filled with absolute darkness and hatred. And that's heartbreaking for me because I don't want to see any young person filled with that kind of hatred. So,
and I posed this question Wednesday when this happened. By the way, I'm on the board of TPUSA, and I'm just livid. I'm sorry. I'm pissed. I'm not grieving right now. Stages of grief. I just fast forward right to anger, and that's where I'm sitting. And I think whoever did this, if the motive was to change history by taking out a very a man who's mistaken, because this will only encourage 100 Charlie Kirks going forward. Anyway, I digress.
I agree with you. I believe Charlie was destined to be a president, and maybe sooner rather than later. I think he was going to be the youngest president of the United States. He had not only the incredible common sense ideology, a love for country, he had the mechanism to make that happen. He put on so many of the Trump rallies through Turning Point Action. He has the ground game, the army of patriotic young people and their parents and grandparents who are political activists thanks to him. They know how to knock doors. They know how to get politically involved. He has the social media to do it, and he has a media platform that is hugely successful. That's a threat to a lot of people. That's a very big threat. And let me tell you, the nasty, evil people that in some ways run our world, if they could have stopped President Trump before he ran for president, and they could go back in time and do that, you better believe they would have stopped him. And I think they're looking at people who have the potential to be a second Trump type at a younger generation, and they don't want people like Charlie. They don't want people like Charlie to be around.
Kari, I'm going to ask you this, and I pretty much asked every guest since this happened. How can we coexist when one side would rather murder and eliminate the other side than to have a respectful, elevated debate about the things and the way the country should go? How are we supposed to coexist with that side?
Well, what we do is we don't let them shut us up. We don't let them silence us. These people who are cheering at Charlie's assassination are depraved and despicable. Their soul is gone. And so we don't let people like that silence us, keep us from loving our country and doing what's right. We can never allow that to happen. And so I think, trying to kumbaya with somebody who has such a dark soul like that is wrong. We have done nothing wrong. This movement is built on love for country. It's built on love for one another, and it's built on patriotism. And there is not a darn thing wrong with that. The people who've been messaging and falsely messaging us and saying that we're hateful and we're bad people, that is where the problem lies, and that's got to stop. And that's the legacy media who has been trying to make President Trump, people like Charlie Kirk, even myself, non-persons, just try to create such a false character assassination by putting out false personality traits that don't exist to make people hate the MAGA movement is disgusting, and it's got to stop.
All right, let's do this. Kari, can you stay with us for the break and come back, and we'll talk a little bit more about the aftermath of what's going on. All right, folks, Kari Lake will come back with us after the break. We'll be back 2.5 minutes.
Everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
He is a voice of reason out there that has been gunned down for daring to be an American, to tell the truth, to believe in free speech, and to believe in this country.
Charlie loves his family dearly. He loves his country dearly.
Please pray for the Kirk family. This is a really devastating thing that happened.
We must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot, a great guy from top to bottom. God bless him.
He believed strongly that we could solve a lot of our differences with just a good old-fashioned conversation.
He was shot for speaking the truth. He was shot for speaking his mind. He was shot for defending the Constitution.
John Solomon's reporting on Just the News that he's passed. Yes, is this what I'm hearing? Yes, can I get here?
Yes.
Yes.
So my prayers are for Erica, for her children, for his family.
I pray that his parents would feel that presence of the Lord that only the Lord can fill.
We cannot let all the great things that Charlie Kirk did be wasted because of some act of violence.
He didn't hate people. He didn't even hate liberals. He just hated intolerance. And it is a painful irony that he may have died at the hands of some intolerant person.
He was fighting not just for his own young children, but for all of our children.
When America needed a hero, God sent us a Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk is a casualty of the political war going on in this country. He was gunned down in cold blood. Gunned down in cold blood. And you have to have steely resolve of it.